Ever wonder what you're really made of? I mean, really made of? Today, we're going to shrink down, way, way down, and take a tour of the incredible microscopic city that's buzzing with life inside every single one of your cells.
Okay, get ready for this number. 37 trillion. That's not million, not billion, trillion. That's the best guess for how many cells are in your body right now. And here's the crazy part. Every single one of them is its own tiny, bustling world.
So that's just a staggering number, right? It almost doesn't feel real. But it begs the question, what's actually happening inside each and every one of those tiny worlds? What makes them tick? Well, that's exactly what we're here to find out. All right, let's start our tour. We're going to begin right at the city limits, you could say, and get to know the basic blueprint for, well, for all life, really. So what is a cell, anyway? At its core, it's the smallest possible thing that we can call alive. That's it. It's the absolute fundamental unit. Everything from a tiny bacterium to a gigantic blue whale, it's all built from these little guys. And what's so cool is that no matter how different they look or what job they do, pretty much all cells have three things in common. Think about it like our city metaphor. Every city needs a border, right? To control what comes in and out, that's the cell membrane. Then you need the space inside, the environment, the streets, the air. That's the jelly-like cytoplasm. And most importantly, every city needs a master plan, a set of blueprints. And that, of course, is the DNA.
But just like in our world, not all cities are built the same. You've got your small, simple villages, and then you have your massive, sprawling metropolises. The cell world is no different.
So on one hand, you've got your prokaryotic cells. These are the villages. They're simple, their DNA just kind of floats around inside, and they don't have all these specialized departments, or as scientists call them, organelles. Bacteria, classic example. But then you have the eukaryotic cells. These are the big cities, the metropolises. This is what you, me, plants, and animals are made of. They've got a secure central building for their DNA, the nucleus, and they are jam-packed with all sorts of specialized machinery. And that's where we're going to spend the rest of our tour, inside this incredible metropolis.
All right, first stop in our big city tour, you got to go to City Hall, right? The command center where all the big decisions get made. And in the cell, that's the nucleus.
Yep, the nucleus is City Hall. It's the safe, the vault, that holds the city's entire master plan, the DNA. And from this one spot, it sends out all the orders that tell the cell what to do, how to grow, when to make new cells, everything.
So let's peek inside, shall we? Most of the time, the DNA blueprint is all spread out and easy to read, kind of like a tangled bowl of spaghetti. That's called chromatin. But when it's time for the city to grow, for the cell to divide, that DNA packs itself up super tight and neat into these little structures we call chromosomes. Oh, and you see that little dark spot inside? That's the nucleolus. Think of it as a factory inside City Hall, and its one job is to build the city's workforce, things called ribosomes.
Okay, we're leaving the quiet of City Hall and stepping out into the main city streets, the bustling cytoplasm. This is where the action is. This is where we'll find the factories, the power plants, and even the garbage trucks.
And look, here are those workers we just saw getting made back in the nucleolus. These are the ribosomes. You can think of them as the construction workers or factory workers of the cell. They are absolutely essential. Their job is to take the instructions sent out from the DNA and build stuff. Specifically, they build proteins, which are the machines and materials the cell needs for basically everything. But, just building the protein isn't the end of the story. It's just step one. Now it has to be shipped off for some finishing touches and packaging, and its journey starts along this massive highway system inside the cell. It's called the endoplasmic reticulum, or just ER for short. It's this huge network of folded roads and tunnels for moving things around. Now you'll notice some parts of this highway are covered in those little ribosome factories. They look all bumpy, so we call that rough ER. The other sections are, you guessed it, smooth ER. So after traveling along the ER highway, our newly made proteins arrive at the next major hub.
The Golgi apparatus. This is the city's main post office and shipping center. It's amazing. Here, the proteins get customized, folded into just the right shape, stamped, sorted, and packaged up into little bubbles, ready for delivery. Some get shipped to other parts of the cell, and some are even exported out of the city entirely.
Now, obviously, a city needs more than just factories and post offices. It needs utilities, and the cell has them all. You've got the mitochondria. These are the power plants constantly generating energy to keep everything running.
Then there are the lysosomes, the sanitation department, the garbage collectors. They use enzymes to break down waste and recycle worn-out parts. And holding it all together? That's the cytoskeleton, a whole network of girders and cables that gives the city its shape and structure.
Okay, so we've seen the stuff that most of these cell cities have in common. But now let's check out some of the unique, specialized buildings you only find in certain neighborhoods, so to speak.
Let's compare two of the most famous city types, plant cells and animal cells. They've got some major differences. Plant cells, for example, have this super rigid cell wall on the outside for extra support. They also have chloroplasts, we'll get to those in a sec, and a giant water tower in the middle called a vacuole. Animal cells? Nope. No cell wall, which makes them more flexible, no chloroplasts, but they do have those lysosomes, the cleanup crew we talked about, which are less common in plants.
Okay, we have to talk about these chloroplasts because they are incredible. These are literally the solar panels for the entire planet. They're only in plant cells, and they're filled with this green stuff called chlorophyll. It's what lets the plant capture energy from sunlight and turn it into food. I mean, think about it. This tiny little engine right here is what powers almost all life on Earth. Just amazing. And finally, some cells need to move. They've got their own transportation systems. Some have cilia, which are like thousands of tiny little hairs that beat together in waves. The cells lining your lungs have these to sweep out junk. And others have a flagellum, which is basically a long, powerful whip-like tail that pushes the cell forward. The classic example? A sperm cell. So, when you put it all together, from the city hall and the nucleus, to the power plants, the highways, the factories, all of these individual parts are working together in perfect, beautiful harmony. It's not just a bag of parts. It's a living, breathing, dynamic city.
And that brings us back to where we started. Remember that number? 37 trillion? Every single one of those cells in your body right now is a city just as complex and busy as the one we just toured. So let me leave you with this thought. If each and every one of your cells is its own tiny complex world, then what does that make you? An entire universe of worlds, all working together. Pretty incredible, right? Thanks for coming on this tour with me.